So really, this is a place where people can, thank you for pressing recording, whoever that was. This is a place where, we talk about HubSpot issues, developments and strategies with a focus on B2B tech businesses. So today we're going to talk about the product updates that came from Inbound 2021. And of course, there's so much that goes on at these Inbound conferences, all sorts of speakers like Oprah Winfrey and all sorts of kind of people talking about marketing strategies, sales strategies, customer success. But what we're going to focus today is on the product announcements and improvements and how they should help everybody on the call. There's a lot of content today, and you'll get the slides, you'll get the recording, and there's also links to resources where you can get more information. And of course, you're always welcome to talk to us at BBD about anything if you need more help. So, Lisa, do you mind clicking on and we'll get going? So I am co-founder and solutions architect at BBD Boom. I'll say a little bit more about what we do in a minute, but I'm the hug leader for this group, and I'm really pleased to welcome Lisa.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for having me today. I'm Lisa. As Adam said, I work at HubSpot. I've been here for about 4 years now, working with our solutions partners, helping them and supporting them with any services that they're delivering to our HubSpot customers. So really delighted to be with you all, and thank you for taking the time to listen to us today.
Brilliant. Thanks, Lisa. Looking forward to what you're going to share with us. And we're also joined by Elliot, who is a client of ours, and he is in charge of marketing and sales activity at Perpetuity, which is an IT company. He'll say more about it. But also, I'd say Elliot is an absolute avid HubSpot person, and he loves it. And we really enjoy working with him and chatting about all things HubSpot. So welcome, Elliot.
Thank you very much, Adam. Hey guys, thanks very much for having me on as well. But like Adam said, we are a Microsoft partner, Perpetuity, and I'm a now experienced executive as of last week. And part of my role is working with the entire business to look at the tooling that we use, the way that we work with our customers and our partners, and generally colleagues as well, and always thinking of is there a better way of doing this? And yeah, using tools like HubSpot in multiple ways to be able to better the way that we do business.
That is cool, Elliot. And Elliot is very much a multi-hub user of HubSpot. So he's as the new title suggests, he's looking at the whole journey from prospect through to customer and re-engaging and upselling, cross-selling customers. So it's brilliant to have you on, Elliot. So very briefly, Boom is a Diamond HubSpot partner, and we specialize in B2B tech companies, and we look after anybody if they have small requirements in HubSpot or very big deployments and campaigns and things like that. So do let us know if there's anything specific we can help you with. But now, really, what we're going to do, Lisa's going to take us through kind of the main highlights, and then Elliot and I are going to really talk about the kind of so what, I suppose, Elliot, isn't it? Like, well, that's great. What would we do with that, and from my point of view, how is that useful to clients? So that's the kind of the way we're going to run the session.
Great. So I'll kick things off. I have the pleasure of taking you through some of the major highlights and updates that we had at our Inbound conference. As Adam mentioned, there's a lot that we announce. This is typically our time of year where we talk about all of our latest product updates, what we have in beta. We launch our roadmaps for the coming months, coming years. So there's a lot to unpack, but I'm going to be giving you an overview of some of the updates that really are the key talking points, I suppose, from our Inbound conference. And this year, we really celebrated making the HubSpot CRM more customizable, more connected, and more customer first. So that's really the focus of the features that I'll be talking about, but we will dive in now. So the first one was a more customizable CRM platform. So why is this important? As you all know, each buyer's journey isn't linear, so it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. And your CRM or your customer relationship management software, it needs to be flexible enough to make sure that you're customizing to the unique requirements of every buyer's journey. We want to make sure that you've got a CRM that's going to align your teams, but at the same time, you also want it to be accessible and easy to adopt with a UI that's really accessible to any user that might be accessing your portal. You also want to have your CRM to adjust to your growth. So you want to be able to adapt your portal. You don't want to have to rely on a lot of development work to be able to do that. And more importantly, you don't want downtime when you're doing that. So the following features are going to highlight our commitment to exactly this, to aligning those teams, speeding up time to value, and just really letting you optimize that entire customer journey end to end. You'll probably hear me and Adam and Elliot a lot during this presentation say how excited we are about particular features, and it is hard to pick which one, but I know Sandboxes in particular was definitely one of our top requested features over the years. You may already be familiar with our developer accounts, and what they do is they allow you to test or experiment in a separate portal without affecting any real HubSpot data. But the issue was these are completely isolated from your main portal and they don't reflect your existing subscription or setup. So why we've introduced Sandboxes, they're basically production-like accounts. So you can, same with your developer portals, you can safely try new things, but you're going to have the context of your main portal. So you're going to have your key subscription info, the features that you have access to, but not necessarily impacting any of the changes that you're doing in your sandbox in your main portal. So you're going to be able to experiment across the entire customer journey and just giving you a little bit more confidence in that testing and experimentation. There is lots to come with Sandboxes. At this time, it's just a one-way sync from your main account to your Sandbox account. So any data that you do have in your Sandbox account isn't synced to your main account. So it's just one way for the moment. One of the other nice features is that if you add users to your Sandbox account and they're not already in your main account, we will not create them as users in your main account. So if, for example, you work with maybe a consultant or a contract worker, you can add them to a Sandbox and you don't have to add them to your main account. And I know this was a really welcome addition. Some of our customers maybe worked with freelance developers. They didn't want to provide them full access to their main account, but they needed them to work on some development work. So that was a really big addition to that. For now, what you can see on the screen is going to be the features that you can copy into the Sandbox account. So things like pipelines and templates, but there's lots more to come with this. So this is definitely a watch this space. We're continuing to expand on the features and tools that you can sync to your Sandbox account. Enterprise customers are going to have one out of the box, but we will be introducing the ability to purchase more if that is necessary. So lots of information, but nice. I know Adam in particular was very excited about this one when I told him about it first.
Yeah, I mean, Elliot, you really like this, don't you?
I think the best thing about Sandboxes for us is, so we have a developer team, and like I mentioned, we're a Microsoft partner, so we have a lot of systems where our data is within those environments. And the big thing I think about Sandboxes is, so we have a live HubSpot environment. We use it across the business, as you mentioned earlier, Adam, sales, service, and marketing. But when it came to our developers building solutions to try and either sync data through APIs between one system and our systems, other than the developer portal, like Lisa had mentioned, like the guys had that access so they could build stuff, but there wasn't real rich data there that enabled them to kind of really have a play with being able to sync data between one and two. It required us to either export data from our existing environment and then re-import it into the developer environment. And yes, it's not too hard to do, but it's just like one of those processes that HubSpot are eliminating for us to be able to make it a more seamless and better experience for our developers to be able to create stuff within a sandbox environment where they know that it's safe to play around and without that worry if they're going to mess up any of our data or cause any issues within our real environment. So for us, Sandboxes was, music to our ears. We were really, really excited about this one.
Brilliant, yeah. And just to add, I'd say, anybody that's, getting more ambitious and wanting to try some of the new features, you're not really what's my boss going to say if I accidentally turn this on? You know, you've got that safe place where you can do that and really push the boundaries of what HubSpot can do for your business.
Yeah, I love that. So the next one is association improvements. This has been something that our team have been working on for years. So definitely a long time coming. Just to do a quick recap. So associations in HubSpot basically represent a connection. So that could be a relationship, a transaction, or an interaction between objects. So that could be your connections between your contacts and companies, or your connections between companies and deals. So that's when we're talking about associations, that's what we're referencing. But what happened was, up until now, associations in HubSpot didn't really allow customers to truly model their business and processes in the CRM. So we were well aware that our customers had to maintain some clunky and limited workarounds so that they could accurately represent that data in HubSpot. So we were really focused on making sure that this wasn't the case anymore, and we've introduced some improvements in how we represent associations to hopefully better reflect the true nature of those relationships or those associations between your records in HubSpot. So the first major update is that you can now associate multiple companies to a contact. So for example, you might have a contact that is the managing director of company A, but maybe they're also a board member of company B, and you want that to be represented in your CRM. If you are a pro or enterprise customer, even better, you can label or name that association. So you can label that they are a managing director or a board member. Like contacts to companies, there's often more than one company tied to a deal in some cases. So, for example, you might have two companies responsible for facilitating a deal in some way. You might have company A, who is responsible for maybe sourcing the opportunity, and company B might be responsible for closing the deal. And you can now represent this again with those association labels, so you know exactly who's responsible for what in your CRM. It is in beta at the moment, but you can actually opt into that beta for early access via your portal now. It's going to be in your object settings in your portal. If you are having any difficulty finding this, I'm going to put Adam on the spot, but I'm sure the team at BBD Boom will be happy to help you discover where that is, because you can opt into it as of now.
Nice. So Elliot, tell us what you think of this.
Associations for us was not just a feature that we got excited about, but this was a massive enabler for us. So we had marketing and service, and we were dabbling with the idea of introducing sales so we could make HubSpot our primary CRM. But one of the biggest issues for us was the ability to recognize our partner community against our deals and contacts within HubSpot. So the beauty of the associations or flexible associations was the fact that we could then start identifying partner account managers against particular deals that we had. And the beauty of it is there's the level of customization where not only could we associate a partner account manager against a deal, but we could then also associate that partner account manager against the company as well. Because, for example, there may be, I say, multiple partner account managers managing one company, but there are some examples where there is a owner of a company, so we recognize that that partner account manager owns that company, but other partners within those businesses may come forward with opportunities for that business. So we are then able to recognize, which partners, which partner account managers are generating the most opportunities for us per month, which companies, which are a part of our partner companies rather than our own direct business, are also generating, the most opportunities and revenue, etc. So this has really enabled not only us to actually use sales as a platform, but also in terms of reporting. We're able to do some really powerful reporting through this with custom reporting, because we're able to, identify account managers and partner companies as well associated against our customers. So this was an enabler. This was huge for us. So yeah, really excited about this one.
I mean, I've got nothing else to add. I think I agree with that. Elliot, it's really brilliant. And it's part of this, like, tidying up the database. When clients talk about, oh yeah, we can't get the reports out of HubSpot, it generally means that they haven't segmented the data in a way that's useful to them. And so this is a really great way that they can move towards that.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
Segmentation. That was the big thing there. Yeah, that's all. It was always key to reporting is that segmentation of data, and this again really enabled.
Yeah, and I think what you spoke about as well, this not only helps just to clean up your CRM and make things a little bit more streamlined, but it's how you can use this information. You said about the segmentation, but also, association labels and workflows. So if you needed to trigger something based off of partner managers, as you mentioned, you can now do that in a workflow as well. So it's not only just giving you the data and making that clean, but there's those possibilities what you can do with it as well. It opens that up. So business units. Business units you may or may not have heard of. They weren't launched in Inbound, but very close to it. It's still a recent update for us. We did this launch. If a customer had multiple domains or brands within HubSpot, they needed to connect multiple instances of data and settings in order to customize it by brand. So we had a lot of customers using very strict naming conventions in order to tag assets like contacts, companies, pages, and they needed to make sure the right assets are linked together. And obviously the amount of human error that could be possible, you're relying on a team to stick to a naming convention may not always happen. We also had customers creating, custom properties to tag CRM records to one or multiple brands. Didn't always happen. Some data was missing. So what we wanted to do was really to simplify this process. And we created something called business units to really align the teams and help our customers manage multiple brands in your one account. So we take an example, there'd be multiple brand companies, but they might also share leads. So you might have Toyota, for example. They have Toyota, they've got Lexus, all under the same ownership. They have different branding and messaging, but they often need to share marketing campaigns, upsell or cross-sell opportunities, or also have reporting just across the board. So there's lots of updates that come with business units. You can now associate branding kits to business units. So you might have a unique branding kit for each of your brands. You can also associate cookie banners. So if you have multiple domains, you want to make sure that your cookie banners are managed separately. You can also use business unit properties to segment your contacts, and you can also filter pages by business units based on the domain. So again, you don't need to create reports for this. They're now going to be available out of the box. We also have some more features that are still in beta with business units. So being able to associate email subscription types to business units. This one is huge. If you are operating multiple brands in HubSpot today, you can only have one subscription page. So it means that someone is either subscribing to all your brands or unsubscribing to all of your brands. So the ability to be able to add subscription types per brand, per business unit is huge. You're also going to be able to tag, filter, and report on emails by business unit, and the same with forms as well. So this is going to happen automatically upon conversion, that your contacts will know if they've come from a particular brand or business unit. You don't need to do that manipulation yourself to try and figure out where they've come from, what brand does this belong to. So definitely lots still to come with this, but it's already live, and I'm seeing some great use cases come from it so far.
Yeah, and this is one that I get asked about a lot when I'm working with clients that have different operational companies. Perhaps they've been through a merger. Of course, this isn't cheap. This thing is quite expensive. But what I try to explain to clients and prospects is, yeah, okay, so it's not cheap, but it's incredibly powerful, because actually, like you say, take away all the human error of the actual day-to-day of trying to replicate this manually. It takes that away. If you think about the time saving involved generally and the strategic oversight that people are going to get by having all the business units in one portal, so you have kind of consistent super admins, and if there's a group marketing director, they're able to kind of run reports across this one portal. And of course, the alternative for lots of people is to have different business units and different HubSpot portals. And then you can't join it up. It just becomes really complicated to manage and report on. So I think this is fantastic for bigger companies, growing companies. I think you've really got to give this a good look.
Yeah, definitely. And we did introduce domain limit increases as well. So if you do just need to report on separate domains in HubSpot, that's possible. It's you know, a less expensive option. But if you want to really I suppose have the branding and the associations that I mentioned, business units are going to be required. But we did introduce the two options that if it is just a case that you want to track different domains in HubSpot, that's still possible. But as Adam said, you know, we still have a lot of customers that operate out of multiple portals because at the time they weren't able to manage this within HubSpot. Now we're seeing them consolidate those portals into one, and because they're able to now manage that within HubSpot, and your data is just a lot more accurate because there may have been leads across all different portals that weren't being recognized. So that's really the problem that this solves as well.
Nice.
Cool. So the next one is permissions and governance. So really, you'll probably see a lot of updates from HubSpot around permissioning in general. We want to make sure that everyone has the right level of access to HubSpot, and sometimes that can be a bit of a tough job. So what we've introduced is default permission sets to make it that little bit easier. So what you can do is that you can introduce default roles. So admins can review a recommended list of permission sets for standard job roles. And then when they add new users to a HubSpot account, they can set them a certain permission set. They can get permission recommendations and invite new users in a few clicks. If you're also using single sign-on, we've now provided a secure way to create and manage HubSpot users through Okta. If you aren't familiar with single sign-on, it basically allows you to give your team members one account for all the systems that your business uses. So if you aren't using single sign-on, that mightn't be relevant to you, but I know for our customers that are, this is a really welcome update.
Elliot, this is something you've been playing around with?
Yeah, so our admins, I mean, like, I thought, yeah, this is a really neat feature, but for those guys, this was like the best announcement from Inbound. I think right now they have almost like I think they have a OneNote where if you have a sales rep, these are the permissions they're set. If they have marketing, this is the permissions they're set. So essentially, this is just taking away from having that manual, like, okay, I need to get this permission, this permission, this permission. This is such like a small win, but something that's just such a time saver in that respect, because you know, it eliminates those issues of having that mismanagement of permissions or varying levels of permissions, because okay, someone may not have had that particular switch turned on, this person did have it, but how come this person didn't? Like, you know, you've got that if they're a part of the marketing team, they're a part of sales, they're a part of service, these are the standard permission sets that they are given. So for our admins, this was, you know, like a nice sigh of relief. This was a nice win.
Nice. Thank you very much, Elliot.
Great. So the next one is a more connected CRM platform. So we know for a lot of our customers, the feeling that your entire customer system is disconnected in some way is a really big challenge for a lot of our customers. We know that sometimes your data might live across multiple code bases. You're not really too sure what data is accurate, and that just makes it really hard to align teams and to adapt easily. So in the following feature highlights, I'm going to show you everything that HubSpot is doing to try and deliver that more connected experience across teams and hoping you to allow you to adapt that little bit easier. So the first one is Operations Hub Enterprise, but in case you aren't familiar, earlier this year, we launched a brand new hub called Operations Hub. A few features associated with that, but really what it does is it connects and cleans customer data. So businesses can stay aligned and efficient as they scale. So as Elliot said, the last one was a bit of an admin win. This was definitely an operations team win. It wasn't really something that we had in HubSpot to date. What we know from our research is that operations teams want to spend less time on one-off data and reporting requests and more time driving business strategy. So with Operations Hub Enterprise, this is really what we're trying to do with that, is to help those ops leaders to prepare and curate data so that users can really easily build their own reports. And one of the features of this is data sets. So with data sets, operations people, analysts, any other data leaders in your business can curate those collections of data. So they can have pre-select fields, They can run calculations and lots more. And it just means then users can build reports from these kind of templated data reporting. So really what the focus is to save ops people time, give them more control, and for users to be able to create really fast and consistent reports. Calculations, I know, were something that people got very excited about with this one, because it's a new feature of data sets. So for the first time in HubSpot, you can actually calculate values directly within HubSpot reports without having to add additional fields solely for reporting purposes. So some examples of this, if you wanted to calculate some date differences, so time to first conversion is a popular one. If you wanted to do maybe sales cycle speed, so the time and deal stage, email engagement rates, sales commissions, lots more. I know that is now something that you can now do with reporting. The second element of this, for the very first time, we are bringing business intelligence features into HubSpot. Adam, I know we've spoken about this actually on another webinar when you asked when is HubSpot going to do this. So we now have a fast and automated way to export HubSpot data into one of the industry's leading data warehouses, which is Snowflake. And this really makes it easy to combine your data outside of HubSpot in the data warehouse or the BI tool that you're already using, if that's what you prefer. This actually doesn't go live until next Monday, so you're getting a bit of a sneak peek today. We don't really have a ton of documentation outside of this that we can send you as of now, but if you're interested, everything will go live next week, and Adam can send some further information on.
Yeah, so this whole thing is in some ways a huge departure from what HubSpot started off doing around marketing and then into sales and service. Now we're into this kind of new world of deep integration into things. The data warehouse bit, I think, is really exciting for those clients that use data warehousing options. But also, I think what we're doing for ourselves and some of our other clients, we're bringing more data into HubSpot and we want to use data sets, and we're already using custom reports to do our BI, if you like, inside HubSpot. And when you then start to use custom objects to replicate the data set that's somewhere else so it's kind of replication inside HubSpot, then you can run the reports off it. So I think it's just such a kind of slightly overwhelming range of options that are available now. The other thing that's part of this, has been part of Ops Hub, is custom coded automations. So that's only been going a few months, and we're just getting up and running with that ourselves and with our clients, whereby you can basically, if you imagine with the workflows, there's a standard set of workflows, and now you can create a completely customized workflow for whatever actions you want inside HubSpot. So if the data's in there, if the data points are in there, if the objects exist, you can do it. And really interesting use cases for us and our clients is, data enrichment. So sending, firing off some code when something happens and going to get more information, a bit like a webhook, but more sophisticated. And also, data coming in, being sent to the system and then being acted on within the custom coded workflows. Plus, obviously, all the off-the-shelf integrations that are now possible, like you can see here with Dynamics. And I think, Elliot, we've spoken a lot about Dynamics, haven't we? And I think what I'd encourage people to do is, when you look at these native integrations as part of Operations Hub, sometimes they start off with only one object or two objects, like contacts and companies, but by the looks of it, HubSpot just keeps rolling out the objects. So deals and things like that, more sophisticated things, then come afterwards. So I would always encourage people to look back at what the native integrations in Operations Hub can do. But yeah, it's just amazing, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, and what we didn't speak about was the cleaning of data. I think that's something that I love. Is some examples of this is that you can format your data through a workflow. So if you have a CRM that's full of no capitals on first name initials or last name initials. That's something you can do if you've date formats that are in US, UK. There's lots of variants. You can format them to be the same. I think it just drives so much efficiencies that just weren't possible before. So definitely, if it's the first time you're hearing about Operations Hub today, it's worth checking it out. It's still quite new, but yeah, you're already seeing that we're adding more to it. Nearly every month, I think there's an update.
Nice.
Cool. So the next one is custom behavioral events. And this is not a new feature, but it's received an upgrade. So if you've never heard of custom behavioral events before, basically they take customer micro-targeting tactics to the next level. So it's going to allow you to segment and trigger actions based on any behavior of your contacts, not just based on guesswork. Some examples of this, maybe if you're tracking purchase intent behaviors, such as have they interacted with a pricing calculator, have they activated a trial, have they started a free account but they haven't activated, have they viewed our comparison pages or case studies, have they abandoned maybe a multi-step application. Lots of options that you can do with customer behavioral events, but it's really triggering the actions based on a certain behavior that you want to track. And for years, customers had access to an API that allowed them to track those customer experience actions, either on their website or from external applications. But as with a lot of our features, our customers push this events API to its very limit. And that's what we love because it makes us get better. And what customers were finding is that they couldn't leverage some of the metadata that they were creating without creating lots and lots of events. Just led to poor optimization, and you just weren't getting the insights that really you needed. So we've made a lot of improvements to custom behavioral events. You can now store some of that valuable metadata that people weren't able to get before. So things like, what device did a user log in from? When exactly did that happen? You can really get granular with this. So it's really whatever you want to track as a behavior is hopefully now possible with these updates.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, some of the things that we've done with it, for example, there you can see the clicked element. It's where you've got video and there might be multiple options for people to click on, is, making that element in the video button the thing that's tracked. So that's something that we've done a lot of. And then, the custom event at the bottom there where we can put, JavaScript into it can be fired. When people have got a lot of our software clients obviously have a platform that customers use, and when they're doing actions inside that portal where they've logged into, then those can trigger events back into HubSpot, and that can be used for reporting or for automation and so forth, or tasks for sales rep. So bring it again. It's all this thing where HubSpot is like becoming part of the infrastructure of your whole business and joining it all up. So that, we think that's a really huge thing.
Yeah, I love those examples. So I think we actually referenced this earlier. Not a new feature, very powerful one, is our custom report builder. Before we introduced this, reporting in HubSpot, we'll admit, was limited to a handful of reports that helped answer some pretty generic questions. And this often fell short of helping our customers answer the big questions that you needed to answer. So what we've introduced is the custom report builder. This means that all of your HubSpot data lives in one place. There's over 20 sources of data that you can report on in here. No spreadsheets required is what we're hoping, because we had a lot of customers exporting data to spreadsheets, to Excel, to Google Sheets to try and manipulate their data. We want you to do all of that in the custom report builder. So you can now create reports on all of your CRM data, including contacts, companies, deals. You can report on custom objects, behavioral events, we just spoke about, campaigns. So what we're hoping is that all teams can access this marketing, sales, service to really help make those data-driven decisions. There's also been improvements to data visualization. So we've introduced pivot tables. I know that was very exciting to a lot of people. You can now zoom in on data points, and you can also save all of these reports to any of your dashboards with just a couple of clicks. So lots of possibilities. I know this is one of Adam's favorite topics, so I'm
Yes.
sure he's got lots of examples of how his customers are using this.
Well, actually, I'm going to ask Elliot because I think he's even more of a fan.
Thanks, guys. Yes, custom report building. This was, again, another big thing for us because HubSpot already comes preset with a load of great reporting capabilities, whether it be marketing, sales, or service. They're already great pre-built reports. But when custom report building came about, it's so huge. I mean, I did the marketing certification for HubSpot reporting, which I highly recommend if anybody's going to look at the custom report builder to do, because that thing gives you the good basic overview of custom report building and its capabilities. But again, touching on kind of a bit what Lisa said, the beauty of custom report building is you can get those granular reports that enable the business to really understand how a sales campaign is or how a marketing campaign is taking place, how efficient the sales team are, how efficient the service team are. So when I look at our dashboards now that we've built within Perspicuity, I would say probably a good third to nearly 40% of those reports that we have within our dashboards are custom built ones, because there are those specific requirements of particular reporting elements that previously weren't available, but now again, like Lisa said, you're able to report from multiple objects, whether it be the tickets, the deals, the companies, the contacts, etc. You can report from all of those aspects and draw data together to build really powerful reporting. Like I said, this is an amazingly powerful tool, and we love it. The reports that we're getting on the back of this are just phenomenal.
Great, and thank you for the shout out to the HubSpot Academy. Completely agree. There's lots of documentation, videos on the custom report builder. It can be a little overwhelming if you've never used it before, but there's lots of help there. And as I said, the guys at BBD Boom are well skilled in this in particular. So if you have any questions, feel free to direct them their way.
Actually, Lisa, we've just got a question. I should have encouraged people to do questions at the beginning. Please do pose them. But Connor is saying, does Custom Report Builder include more granular reporting on sequences, e.g. performance bounces per email in sequence?
Sequences are definitely, you can now report on them within the Custom Report Builder. I just don't know exactly what's possible within that. Don't know if Elliot or Adam has anything to elaborate.
Because activities is a thing there, isn't it? In the Custom Report Builder. So that
sequences exist by themselves actually in the Custom Report Builder. Yeah, you'll be able to select them, but I just don't know what fields are populated among that.
No. We can.
I mean, you might have already checked that out. Sorry, I can't see who submitted the question, but you may already, when you go into the sequences tool within HubSpot, I know there is some basic data available in there. I think like the conversion rate of your sequences, the open rate of your sequences. So there is some basic data there available. But admittedly, I haven't done any sequence reporting within the Custom Report Builder because the basic reporting that was available to us within sequences seemed to just cut the mustard at the time. So.
Cool, but we'll get back to you, Connor.
Great. Forecasting. So before we introduced forecasting as a tool, we were well aware that a lot of sales teams, again, were using spreadsheets to try and understand their forecast. They would export all of their deals data, or in some cases, make their sales reps enter the information twice. So once in a HubSpot, once in a spreadsheet. This causes extra work, time away from selling, mismatched data, and really a frustrating and sometimes an inaccurate forecasting experience. And what was happening for sales managers as well, it was difficult for them to understand, what was changing in their team's pipeline, and where they could really help focus their reps. So we introduced a forecasting tool. This is what our own HubSpot sales reps use now, and it provides a new home for sales teams to really check on their progress towards their sales goals. They can forecast where they'll end up at the end of the month or quarter, and really what we hope this will achieve is that they can dive into those details of that forecast during their one-to-one meetings with their reps or with their sales managers. Another feature that we launched a part of this was deal splits. So this is really hot off the press and a brand new feature. really highly requested. But what deal splits actually do is that users can share credit by assigning a percentage of the deal to different users. So those amounts are then going to be reflected in the forecasting tool as well. So an example, you might have a reseller part of a deal, partner manager, like Elliot mentioned. Maybe they are awarded a certain commission percentage of the total deal amount. You want to make sure that you're not forecasting that for your amount that you'll be getting, so you can actually split the deal between different owners, and you can do that for a few owners as well. It doesn't have to just be two. So I know that was a really exciting one that people were happy to hear.
Yeah, and I think people that have been used to using things like Salesforce, this up until now was sort of lacking. HubSpot was lacking a bit, I think, compared to those systems. And as ever, HubSpot's caught up big time. Like you say, I think, Lisa, I think it's actually a place to have those sales coaching conversations and have the conversations of like, yeah, that's all in the pipeline, but what are you going to commit to? Like, you know, the difference between lines and saying that's in that stage of the deal, therefore it's 20% likely to come in, versus having the conversation of like, yeah, but knowing what you know about this, what do you think? Is it that big? Is it going to come in? And I think it's really cool. And of course, the trends, that the historical trends that you'll see in the way that people have done forecasting and manual forecasting is going to enable sales leaders to kind of, you know, when they're presented with data, they'll be able to compare that to how accurate it's been historically, and so in the numbers that are being put in front of them. So I think it's really, really important.
Yeah, I think hopefully improving some of that accuracy at end of month, that you're not way off those figures. And before, that probably meant a lot of manipulation of data that maybe wasn't always accurate. So I think really the forecasting tool is really strong. We've done a ton of updates to it even since it launched. So we're seeing high usage of it up until now.
Brilliant, love it.
Cool. So the final section is a more customer-centric CRM platform. So really what I hope you'll get from the next few features is that HubSpot is really committed to developing features aimed at improving the customer experience. So we'll talk through some of these now. The biggest launch announcement from Inbound was payments. So this is huge, probably the biggest investment we've made in a long time. What we found out from our research is that the B2B purchase process today happens across multiple disconnected tools that usually are cobbled together, spanning the front and the back office. Rep-assisted sales have become a bit of a Franken system, and the B2B touchless sales just aren't really happening. That's kind of what we discovered from our initial research with the B2B companies that we have as customers. The impact of this really means that there's a lot of wasted time, a lot of lost and delayed revenue, and a poor buying experience for customers. So what we have introduced is HubSpot Payments, which is going to allow you to process payments from within your HubSpot CRM platform. There's going to be three primary features a part of this. The first one is payment links. So what this is going to allow you to do is offer payment options directly within HubSpot. So you're going to be able to generate the payment links directly from your portal. You can share with customers via an email. You can embed a payment link on your website if it's something that maybe there'll be a few customers buying, or you can send via chat as well. So if you're using HubSpot Chat, you can try and gain some revenue that way too. The next one is recurring payments. So with recurring payments, you can now process things like subscriptions natively. So you can send customer notifications before payments are due, hopefully collecting some of that revenue that may be lost. You can also set sales reps reminders or renewal reminders to reach out to customers at the end of their subscription term. So lots that you could do with recurring payments. Then the next one is native quotes and payments integrations. So if you're using the HubSpot quotes tool, you can now create a purchase process that's initiated directly from your sales quotes. You can also sync payment data from QuickBooks and other accounting systems as well. So lots of opportunities there. This is currently in beta, and after telling you all of that exciting news, I have to tell you the bad news that at this time it's only available to customers based in the US. At the moment, there isn't a defined timeline for when we're going to expand this globally. It is very much on our radar, though. We will be having preliminary discussions to begin next year. So I'm telling you about it now. If you have a base in the US, this is something to get excited about. If not, just know it's something that is coming. And you know, by the time it hopefully reaches us over in the UK and Ireland, it will be fully live. And excited to see what's going to be available then too.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Lisa. So now Elliot, obviously, professional services company like yourselves, you do projects, you do ongoing assignments, you do little tiny jobs, I imagine. So what do you think this can do for an organization like yours?
I think, again, just to emphasize, I mean, like, this was a massive investment from HubSpot, but also investors, I think, were buoyed at the news of this. I mean, I think it speaks volumes when the HubSpot stock price jumped 16% on the day of announcement of payments. Like, this is huge, genuinely. And I think to build on your question there, Adam, what does this mean for a services business? What I think this means is unlocking different revenue streams that previously weren't possible. So, you know, we're a B2B. We do servicing, we do projects, we have our own products that customers subscribe to. You know, this is now enabling us to unlock the ability to take payments through credit card, to take payments via backs, but all through a managed portal, or you know, through a link that a sales rep can send, or just a place that our customers can go to just pay for these services. And I think to talk about a little more about unlocking different revenue streams, you know, this is enabling businesses like us to really think about, maybe we could run a day's workshop that is accessible to everyone that we just promote via LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook, but we offer the option to pay for it. It may be a 90-day, or it might be a £90 a seat option, but you know, that never really crossed our minds previously to, you know, do a webinar that people would pay for, because we never really had that facility in place before. So this is not only unlocking us the ability to, you know, look at billing our customers or opting to provide different ways for our customers to pay us through backs or credit card, but also unlocking new ways of getting revenue in the business through webinars, events in a day type thing, 2-day online virtual workshops. So it's really about thinking, okay, what can we do with this? Like, what new services or products can we introduce, or events that can we introduce that we can then utilize HubSpot payments as the, you know, the back feature to generate some more revenue?
Yeah, incredible. That's brilliant use cases, Elliot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I love that. Can't wait to see what you do with it. You'll be first on our list. Let me know when it's alive.
Cannot wait.
So the next one is the CRM powered CMS. This is really our efforts to really improve personalization that you can do within HubSpot. So we've seen personalization evolve a lot. So no more is it just targeting by a static list or greeting customers by name. Customer expectations for websites are just through the roof at the moment. So it's not just about knowing your name, but having the ability to surface previous interactions that you've had with a company, and giving you content that's relevant to you as a person, and not just a persona. So what we're hoping is that a CRM powered CMS makes it easy to offer these experiences because you have all of that data already within HubSpot. So it's already immediately available to deliver any type of personalized experience that you want. And the benefit is that this is accessible to both developers and marketers. So working together is probably the sweet spot where you can really deliver this personalization, but it's still very possible just to do this without the support of developers. Where I've seen, I suppose, some more of the sophisticated stuff happening, things like dynamic calculators that generate qualified leads for sales teams. I've seen customers develop learning management systems, so that could be for customer training or employee onboarding. I've seen a lot of membership-driven portals, so maybe you want your customers to directly manage their experience within your brand or a section on the website. We spoke about custom objects before, so they also work in the CRM. So if you have new object types that are in your database, you can also surface the latest information that you have about that object on your website. So I think we're seeing the image here, which is a house listing. So that's the sort of things that you can do if you already know, what area someone's in, what they might be interested in. Lots of possibilities as long as you have this information in the CRM to really use that to customize that customer experience.
Yeah, it's very powerful. We're currently scoping a project where the client uses SAP as for their product inventory. And historically, the sales guys would talk to things, say, well, let me go and check what we've got and blah, blah, blah. And now we're going to create custom objects to mirror that in HubSpot. And then we're going to surface that object and the associated data and like images and stuff onto a web page, so that when the salesperson's having the conversation, it's like, oh, look, here we go. Here it is. This is what we've got. And because of all the other back-end systems, it's got to originally sit in SAP, but we're able to, the plan is to try and surface that on a HubSpot CMS. So it's just brilliant. And for the more simple ones, yeah, it can just be, it's a question of building this template here. We'll get a developer like ourselves to do that. And then actually the of new data just happens inside HubSpot, which is great.
Yeah, love that example. I'll definitely be pressuring you for a case study once all of that is live. I can't wait to see it. But yeah, I think there's a huge amount of possibilities that you can do with this, from just changing an image or a call to action based off of a list that someone's a part of, to doing more of the more complicated stuff as Adam mentioned. So lots to offer here.
Lisa, I meant to say that earlier we had a question in relation to payments, and this is from Jennifer Bell. And I don't think you answered this, maybe because you don't know, but when is the payments coming to the UK, do you think, roughly?
They haven't said, so they don't even know. Yeah, the team don't know. It's in beta in the US. So we want to make sure that we have it right before we do roll it out to other regions. Obviously, there's a lot of legal and security elements with introducing payments as well. So the answer is that there's no timeline as of now, unfortunately. But we'll make sure to communicate that as soon as we know.
Brilliant.
Great. The next one is customer portal. So this is the #1 requested feature ever since we've launched Service Hub. If you aren't familiar with Service Hub, that is our customer support, customer delight, customer service portal. So what this is that it's a home behind the login where customers can view, open, and reply to support tickets. So if you've ever interacted with HubSpot support, you've probably seen a similar experience where you can view your tickets and the status of them. What this is going to allow you to do is be able to log in and out of a web experience directly or through a third-party system. And it can allow you to create new support issues, or you can take action on open tickets. So the focus of it is really to keep ticket conversations going on between customers and reps. It can also offer access to your knowledge base if that can solve some of the issues that are happening. And it can be customized to fit your brand. So I think the key thing is that there's no coding required in this. You don't need a developer to build this portal. It's going to be secure. It's going to be tailored to your brand. The setup is simple. It really takes a few minutes to do. So I think that's one of the key benefits of this. It is currently in beta, and we're doing a very slow rollout at the moment. We're on gating about 50 customers a month. But if it is something that you're interested in and you are a Service Hub customer, it's available on professional and enterprise. Just let the BBT Boom team know, and we can see if we can get you access. But it will be live to all, hopefully over the next coming weeks or months.
What do you think of this one?
This for us was, again, news to our ears. We actually jumped the gun ages ago when we first moved from our previous ticketing system over to HubSpot, and this was kind of like one of the, we're going to lose portal, but we're going to bite the bullet because we know the experience is going to be great by the end of it, and getting that insight as to this is something that's potentially maybe in development, maybe winky face sort of thing. So we kind of went ahead and done it, and built our own version of this. So our customers can view their existing portals and view their own existing open tickets and stuff through the portal that we developed. But nonetheless, this is really exciting because taking from what Lisa said, the fact that this sits in with knowledge base, which is really awesome because we utilize the HubSpot knowledge base system. We really like it. It's very customizable in terms of giving it that look and feel of this is perspicuity, not a third-party tool. So when it comes to the fact that our customers can look at the knowledge-based content, but also their ticketing information, this was really neat. So we're still communicating out to customers that you can view data within both portals, because regardless, customers use both our knowledge base center and our existing portal set. But the fact they now have the ability to view ticket data within this portal as well, within the knowledge base portal area as well. So this was really cool.
Yeah, and thanks, Elliot, for believing in us and coming over when, this wasn't a feature, and it definitely was a barrier for people to migrate from their existing system to HubSpot, even if everything else was in HubSpot. So that's why this is one of the most requested features, and I was so happy to finally see it come to life in beta, and then hopefully live to all soon. Okay, so we have our final one for you today, which is custom surveys. If you aren't familiar, you can already run surveys if you're a Service Hub customer, things like CSAT, NPS surveys, and they're obviously really important to get a general pulse on overall satisfaction. But they don't really allow companies to get those deep insights and answers to, your particular burning questions that you might have as a company. So we did introduce custom surveys. What it means is that you can personalize survey questions to suit your business needs and make sure that you're getting that meaningful feedback from customers. So you can add unlimited questions. So with things like NPS, you're obviously limited to what the industry questions are. With custom surveys, you can ask whatever questions you want. We've also introduced, diverse question types. So you can do star ratings, radio select, text fields. You can share your survey with an email link if you need to. You can also surface it on your website. So you're able to build it off lists as well, which I think, again, going back to your segmentation, that if you have certain lists that you need to survey, you can send to new customers as an example, or you can actually build a segment directly from the survey tool. So maybe it's customers that have just recently purchased from us, customers coming up to renewal. Any of these things we can just target to a particular list. And any of that response data is collected, it's in the CRM. You can then take immediate action on that information. So you can use the feedback that you're getting in workflows to send automated communication. You'll have built-in feedback dashboards as well. And at the moment, this is now live to all Service Hub professional and enterprise customers.
Well, we've started using this already, Elliot. What about you guys?
Yeah, so thankfully, my HubSpot account manager, he is just fantastic. We've had this for about 1.5 years now, so we've had this for a very long time, and we've used it for, I know, like Lisa, like you said, picking up on when a new deal is created or when the deal is when the deal is closed as won. But we've also used this to, we have pipelines. So when we have projects taking place within the business, there's different stages of, let's say, a deployment of one of our products, Percy. And throughout that deployment, we really want to understand how the customer's getting on during that experience. There's like 2 key workshops that take place. So not only, I think, does custom surveys give you that ability to understand the end of your customer journey, but also throughout, what was that deployment experience like? How was your workshop today? And we just have that on a trigger. So when a customer hits a certain stage within a pipeline, it just triggers this survey. And then we then just get that feedback back. And like you said, Lisa, you can then create workflows based on the feedback that you get. God forbid, I mean, I touch wood. One of the feedback surveys or triggers we have is, if you have unhappy customer, do this. Luckily, that workflow has not happened yet. So it's worked in testing, but luckily we've not had an unhappy survey response. But that's the thing, like if you do have those customers that maybe are, not having such a great experience is you can have those workflows trigger to then have that customer success representative get in touch with the customer to look at the feedback that they submitted and talk it through with them to understand how to better that experience for, you know, customers down the line, but also set, you know, the course correction for that existing customer. So custom surveys, I think it's awesome. It's really enabling us as a business to understand more granularly how customers feel throughout an entire journey, from the first moment they engage with us through deployment all the way to, you know, support ticketing. So yeah, this is an awesome one.
Brilliant. Thank you, Elliot. That was great.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I think that's probably something we focus a lot on sales and marketing. The service element tends to be the neglected element. So I love that you've already implemented it. Great examples as well.
So I suppose, Lisa, what do people do if they've got more questions?
Yes, understandable that you might. You can click on any of the links in this deck. We have, the first one is going to tell you about all of these updates. It's going to link you to any of the knowledge base articles that we have. And it's also going to show you our roadmap, so what we have coming up as well. There's a few other articles linked here, such as our product catalog, our pricing as well. So definitely check it out. And I'm sure as well, the team at BBD Boom are more than happy to answer any questions off the back of this.
Totally, 100%, yeah. And there's our details. I know we're going to get back to Connor with that question. If there's any other questions, please let us know. There's our details. And so really, all I've got to say now is, because we've come to the end of the session, is thank you to Lisa for doing an incredible job of explaining just so many feature updates all at once so that we all understand it. And Elliot for bringing it to life as a B2B tech who's, you know, HubSpot. And of course, everybody for attending today, and anybody that's going to be listening to the recording in the future, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks so much,
everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
See ya.